everybody, to ABC's College Football presented by K Jewelers as Showdown Saturday begins from the Horseshoe. Ohio Stadium in Columbus is one of the greatest rivalries in all of sports, is renewed for the 95th consecutive year and the 109th time overall. Michigan and Ohio State. And during the pregame warm-up, the whooping and the physical contact has already begun. As is so often the case, this game is important for both teams beyond the intense desire to beat their spirited rival. A Michigan win would earn the Wolverines a share of the Big Ten's Legends Division title with Nebraska, although the Huskers have already clinched the trip to the Big Ten championship game by virtue of their win over Michigan. Ohio State has already won the Leaders Division, but they're not eligible for postseason play because of a one-year ban, so they'll finish their season today trying for just the 6th unbeaten and untied season in the 123-year history of Ohio State football. Hi, everybody. Sean McDonough, Chris Spielman, joined in a moment by Quint Kessenich. Delighted to have you with us. Chris, you played in 4 of these games. You still have the single-game tackle record with an amazing 29. What's it like for these players right now?
Well, I think it's such an honor for them. It's been my greatest honor from high school, college to pro. This game was the best honor I ever had as a player, and it's because of the game itself means so much to so many people. And Sean, for me, it was always the cleanest and most hard-hitting game that I've ever played in.
And your alma mater is 11-0, although Coach Urban Meyer says this is not a great team. Yesterday called them a ham and egg outfit that has found a way to win all 11 times. And the man who leads the way on the field is Braxton Miller.
Yeah, Braxton Miller is some kind of athlete, and he can hurt you with his arm and mainly his feet. This is where he's most dangerous. Recognition of 2 safeties deep on the zone read. First of all, he's going to make the proper read to keep the football. Seeing 2 safeties deep with a lead blocker, he will make you pay, and he will make you pay every time. Now, against Wisconsin, Wisconsin sold out their safeties. They brought them up, and essentially you have 9 people in the box, taking away all cutback lanes that Braxton Miller can exploit. Now, if you're Ohio State, what do you do if you see safeties run up there like madmen? You attack the middle of the field with a deep pass. I expect the Buckeyes to do that early and to do that often.
Meanwhile, Michigan is 8-3. The Wolverines have had a very interesting year. 3 games ago, their great quarterback Denard Robinson went down with an arm injury. Devin Gardner took over at quarterback, and they haven't lost since.
You know, it's amazing to me what Devin Gardner has been able to accomplish in such a short time. Taking reps at wide receiver all year long. Takes over 2.5 games ago, and the numbers are fascinating. 65%, 7 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, and he can throw the ball deep. Now, what keeps Luke Fickell, the defensive coordinator for Ohio State, up? Denard Robinson. How will offensive coordinator Al Borges choose to use him? Nobody knows but Al and Denard, because Denard didn't do any offense during the pregame warm-up, so they didn't give any type of pre-snap look or pregame look to the Buckeye defense.
It's Showdown Saturday, about to get underway. Michigan and Ohio State, the kickoff right after this.
Scarlet and gray, maize and blue. Every November, the air cools and the leaves fall and the colors mix on a furious palette for an annual prize. It's a game of legends and legacies, history and hostility. Bo, Woody, Archie, Charles, the Big House, the Horseshoe, Dot the I, Hugh the victors. It's not just game time. It's time for the game.
And we learned just a short while ago that Ohio State will play the game without one of its best players. Down to the field we go. Here's Quint Kessenich.
Ohio State will be without their best defensive player. That's defensive end John Simon, who leads the Big Ten in sacks. Had 4 last week against Wisconsin, but he injured the burster sack in his right knee. It swelled up to the size of a grapefruit. He was unable to practice this week. He did not warm up, and before this game, he walked out when the seniors were introduced in sweatpants. He will not play. Sean, his mom was in tears. Simon is the hardest worker on this team. He's the leader of this senior class. He is the soul of the Buckeyes.
And a two-time captain, one of only 7 in the history of this program. A huge part of their team, both from a leadership standpoint and for his skills on the field. It's a major loss that Ohio State will have to overcome. Michigan won the toss and deferred. So Matt Weil kicks off for the Wolverines, and a boomer through the back of the end zone over the head of Bradley Roby. Doesn't ordinarily return kickoffs. He's back there this week. As Urban Meyer said, they're going to use all their bullets at their disposal today, try to finish a perfect season against their arch rival. Here's Braxton Miller, sophomore, Huber Heights, Ohio, solid 6'2" and 220 pounds. And a good chance today to set the single season total offense record at Ohio State and break the mark held by Bobby Hoying. He opens with Carlos Hyde at running back. And 3 wide receivers on the first play from scrimmage for Ohio State. Wolverines crowded the line of scrimmage, and Hyde got through that first line and got 6 to the 31, tackled by Desmond Morgan and Jordan Kovacs.
Carlos Hyde is somebody Ohio State is looking to establish. What that does then will open the door for Braxton Miller on that zone read.
Ball close to the 32, a gain of 7 for Hyde. Light snow falling. We've had snow flurries throughout the morning. The temperature is not expected to get above the mid-30s. A great day, perfect backdrop in late November for Michigan and Ohio State. Hyde runs for 1 yard, tackled by Jake Ryan, one of the Ohioans, Westlake, Ohio native on this Michigan team.
And throughout this game, look for Ohio State to go up tempo, moving from 2nd to 3rd down to keep Michigan from substituting and get into matchups that they like, receivers against linebackers.
Hyde has a first down, bounced off some hits short of the first down yardage and got across the 40, finally taken down by Craig Rowe. A gain of 8. Here are the impact players for Ohio State, brought to you by Chick-fil-A.
Carlos Hyde has really established himself as the running back for Ohio State. Corey Brown, a receiver, very explosive down the field. Defensively, the guy that's made all the plays this year and really an outstanding effort, especially toward the second of the year, number 10, Ryan Shazier.
He's the leading tackler for the Buckeye defense. Rod Smith in at running back. Miller play action fake, wants to go deep, has a man running open. It is caught inside the 10 and down. Devin Smith at the 8-yard line, tackled by J.T. Floyd. 51 yards.
Sean, this is exactly what we talked about. Jordan Kovacs, number 11, is inside the box. You have the safety up where you're going to attack deep down the middle of the field, just like we pointed out in pregame, and well executed by the Ohio State offense.
They come up again quickly on 1st and goal from the 8. Miller to the far side of the field to Michael Thomas down at the 3-yard line. Splattered by Frank Clark. 2nd and goal. 2 minutes in. The Buckeyes knocking on the door.
Yeah, Michael Thomas was late on his read. Right there, that little hesitation and the hustle by Frank Clark to get down the line of scrimmage saved a tackle and a touchdown for the Wolverines.
3 receivers bunched to the left. Hyde to the goal line. Touchdown. Six plays, 75 yards, just 219 after receiving the opening kickoff. The big play, the 51-yard pass to Devin Smith. Drew Basil adds the extra point. Carlos Hyde, the touchdown. He leads the Big Ten in scoring, averages 10.7 points per game. And that is his 16th rushing touchdown of the year, and he's missed 2 games this year due to injury.
Here's what we set up. Jordan Kovacs, the safety, is in here to take care of the run, which leaves the middle of the field open. In our pregame, we talked about Ohio State will go to the middle of the field early and often, sucking every ball inside, then throwing a deep ball in the post. Whereas the weakness of the defense, it was outstanding play calling by Urban Meyer, a good throw deep by Braxton Miller. Then, of course, Carlos Hyde barreling it in for the touchdown.
The junior from Naples, Florida. Not sure if these folks are doing it to be festive or to stay warm. Probably a little bit of both. And the kickoff goes out of bounds. Basil trying to pooch kick it.
Kicking team. Ball be placed at the 35-yard line. First down.
That's not what Urban Meyer wanted. John O'Neill is our referee today, leading this Big Ten crew. Well, the ball comes out to the 35-yard line, and that's where the Michigan Wolverines begin. And it looks like Denard Robinson is going to take the first snap from center as Devin Gardner's on the sideline. Gardner has started the last 3 games. But Robinson, the senior, in his final Michigan-Ohio State game, will take at the very least the first snap. Thomas Rawls behind him. Robinson got away behind the line of scrimmage and takes off running. Breaks another tackle. What a start for Michigan. Denard Robinson all the way to the 35-yard line of Ohio State. Michael Bennett missed the first tackle, and then C.J. Barnett had another chance, and he whipped.
Michael Bennett's taking the place of John Simon. Had a chance to make a play for his team, and Denard Robinson lost his shoe, but that does not slow him down. He's such an explosive football player. They're going to try to get him as many touches as they can today, Sean, to keep Ohio State offense. Plus, he's capable of the big play.
So now Devin Gardner in. Of course, they call Robinson shoelace because he doesn't tie his shoes. Gardner slings one, caught. Jeremy Gowan, their leading receiver, got 7 to the 28-yard line. 30-yard run by Robinson, and now it is Gardner at quarterback. We expect to see him most of the way as Robinson continues to have difficulty throwing the ball because of the nerve issue that has created numbness in his right hand. Gardner's been terrific, responsible for 6 touchdowns, 3 rushing and 3 passing in their rout of Iowa last week. Shovels it to Robinson. And he has a first down and got belted. Christian Bryant in on the tackle along with Garrett Goebel.
They want to get Robinson out on edges to take advantage of his speed. So if you're Ohio State, you have to set your defense accordingly, understanding that they're not going to attack the middle or inside running with Denard Robinson in the backfield. So you call your defenses that are solid and sound against outside runs and in pass coverage.
Michigan playing without their best running back, Fitzgerald Toussaint. Season-ending leg injury last week against Iowa, so they need help in running back, and Robinson capable of filling that void and then some. Quick pass to Gowan, in trouble. He dodged ahead for a yard. Tackled by Jonathan Hankins. Michigan trying to answer the opening score. Wolverines won in Ann Arbor last year 40-34, ending a 7-game losing streak head-to-head to the Buckeyes, the longest drought for Michigan in this rivalry that dates back to 1897, and it was a great way for Brady Hoke to break in as head coach at Michigan. 19-5 in his second season, and wearing a short sleeve shirt on a cold day in Columbus. Gardner throws a little too high for Jeremy Gowan. Gardner pressured, had to throw it off his back foot.
I think actually Gowan, if he goes up with 2 hands, Sean, has a chance to make the play. I thought the throw was on target by Devin Gardner. 3rd down here. Look for Ohio State to line up and play a little bit of man defense. Press them and challenge them.
Michigan, one of the best 3rd down teams in the country. 52% Best in the Big Ten, 8th in the nation. It would be the school record for a single season of third down percentage if they end above 49.6, which is the mark in 1986. Gardner lost the football as he wound up, and it is being ruled a fumble and a recovery by Zach Bourne of Ohio State.
Number 92, Washington's going to come from the outside, and I love the fact that he does not go for the kill shot, but he goes for the strip and beat him with speed. And Zach Bourne, of course, a former fullback, now starting middle linebacker, comes in with a big recovery.
Boy, Adolphus Washington, the true freshman, is certainly being held by Taylor Lewan. Got to the quarterback nonetheless. Tough to tell if the ball was coming out of Gardner's grasp even before Washington got there. And the first turnover of the game gives it back to Ohio State from its own 33. Hyde stopped at the line of scrimmage. Initial hit by Jabril Black. Yeah, Washington did dislodge it.
In the absence of John Simon, the luxury Ohio State has is depth at that position with a lot of speed coming off the edges.
Well, an eventful first 5 minutes. Braxton Miller held to just 145 yards of offense last week at Wisconsin. He's had an inconsistent year according to the coaches. He throws for about a 7-yard gain. J.T. Floyd took down Corey Brown, the leading receiver this season for Ohio State, is 53rd of the year.
Yeah, and certainly an effort by Tom Herman to get Corey Brown involved in the offense early because it's explosive. Ohio State will go tempo to keep Michigan from substituting on third downs.
Well, they like to go to a lot of exotic defensive packages on third down. Ohio State doesn't want to face those, so they're not going to substitute from second to third down in most situations. Therefore, they don't have to allow Greg Madison and the Michigan Wolverines to substitute on defense. A blitz from Michigan, and Miller's in trouble and slides down way back at the 22-yard line, pursued by Jabril Black. Well, Michigan's the #1 pass defense in the country. Brady Hoke says it's hard to explain because we don't get much pressure on the quarterback. They did there.
Well, Jabril Black just comes off and does a great job with speed, and Braxton Miller loses his footing. Normally he doesn't do that. He usually buys time and escapes and creates. That time the footing cost him as he holding his wrist or arm as he makes his way to the bench.
This is the 16th sack of the year from Michigan. They're 97th in the country in sacks. Ben Buchanan punts, and a good one. Jeremy Gallon back to the 27, retreating, a clear block in the back against Michigan, and a tackle made just about where Gallon caught it. Joe Reynolds is going to be called for a block in the back that about 106,000 people saw. 50-yard punt, nothing on the return, and the penalty is going to back up Michigan inside its own 20.
During the return, block in the back, number 85 return team. 10 yards from the spot of the foul. First down. Timeout.
With 8:12 to go in the first quarter. Both teams drove on their first possession. Ohio State scored. Michigan turned it over.
College football in high definition is presented by Vizio.
So many with intense interest in this game, including Ohio native LeBron James tweeting this morning he'd like to see his Buckeyes beat Michigan. Ohio State leads 7-0. Michigan's second possession starts from its own 17-yard line with Devin Gardner under center. Play action fake. Going deep down the middle of the field and over the head of Jeremy Gallon. C.J. Barnett in coverage.
That's the one thing Devin Gardner does bring is the ability to throw the ball deep, and very accurate throwing a deep ball, not afraid to take the shot down the field. I talked to Al Borges. It seems to me that whenever Devin Gardner got the call, as he's going out and Denard Robinson will come in the quarterback, is he's kind of playing carefree with not any worries, and he's not worried about making mistakes, which has helped him.
He came as a quarterback, recruited by the previous staff of Rich Rodriguez to run their spread offense with a lot of design quarterback runs. He's playing wide receiver this year. They had a need at that position. Robinson back in, handed it off to Vincent Smith. He weaves out to the 25-yard line, about 2 yards shy of the first down. It'll be 3rd down and 2. Travis Howard made the tackle. He's back healthy after he had a neck stinger that kept him out of much of the game last week at Wisconsin, the overtime win against the Badgers that kept Ohio State undefeated.
3rd and 2, and again, in this type of situation, you have to line up and play man to man. And Michigan is lined up in kind of a stack with their wide receivers. That is to run picks.
Gardner throws on the run, and it is caught down the far sideline. Roy Roundtree, one man to beat and a blocker to help. Touchdown, Michigan, 75 yards. Drew Dillio provided that last block to free up Roundtree to go the distance.
You're going to motion the trips right here, and you see the stack formation. Now they're going to go off into a zone. The problem is you have number 4, C.J. Barnett, biting early, and Devin Gardner with an outstanding job of reading route progression from deep to short as opposed from short to deep, hitting Roundtree, and Roundtree knows what to do after he catches the ball, and he knows how to finish with the lead from Dillio.
The extra point good by Brendan Gibbons. It is a tie game at 7. Longest reception of the year for Roy Roundtree. He's been much more productive in recent weeks with Gardner at quarterback.
ESPN's College Football on ABC. Brought to you by K Jewelers. Every kiss begins with K. Nissan. Innovation for today. Innovation for tomorrow. Innovation that excites. And Liberty Mutual Insurance. Responsibility. What's your policy?
Well, they get them started early in this rivalry, don't they? Those are a couple of Buckeye babies born yesterday and already wrapped in special blankets marking the intense rivalry. We welcome Madeline Williams and Claire England to the world with their proud papas yesterday.
Brings back memories. I got to experience both sides, living in Michigan for 8 years and understand the tradition and 2 great schools and universities.
And they don't like to call each other by name. All the Buckeyes we talked to yesterday referred to that team up north. The Michigan folks we talked to during the week referred to Ohio State just as Ohio. Bradley Roby smacked from behind at the 29-yard line by Royce Jenkins Stone. It is Showdown Saturday. How about this lineup? We're just the appetizer, and a pretty tasty one at that. Then at 3:30, 4th-ranked Florida and 10th-ranked Florida State from Tallahassee at 8 o'clock tonight. Number 1 Notre Dame trying to wrap up a spot in the BCS National Championship game. They'll do it with a win over USC in the Coliseum. They're 11-0 for the first time since 1989. But the Trojans have a history of ruining Notre Dame undefeated seasons. Quick throw to Devin Smith, and he has a first down. Out to the 40-yard line. Braxton Miller on target. Raymond Taylor made the tackle for the Wolverines. It's a gain of 11.
You got to be pleased if you're Urban Meyer and Tom Herman. Anytime you can throw the ball on first down and be successful, that will open up running lanes as you progress throughout the game.
He's almost matched his passing total for last week at Wisconsin when Miller threw for just 97 yards, a season low. They were reluctant to call up pass plays in the second half with poor field position, and they thought Miller had a bad week of practice leading into that game. They didn't have a lot of confidence in his ability to throw, but they said he practiced much better. He runs for a half a yard and that's it. And they believe that's the next step that Buckeye coaches for Miller. Consistency. He has a lot of physical talent, but week to week he's kind of up and down.
Well, Urban said it. He goes, and to quote Urban, I don't buy that gamer stuff. I buy the practicer stuff. And the more Braxton practices and practices at a high level and an efficient level, the better he performs during the game. There's only one guy, Sean, that I played with that didn't have to practice and go in a game and be the gamer. Barry Sanders. Unbelievable.
On 2nd and 10, Miller kept it. Turned the corner, got 5 and then ran out of bounds. Pressured behind the line of scrimmage by Frank Clark. Jordan Kovacs chased him out.
Yeah, Coach Madison has to be pleased with the defense called, and Frank just got shook a little bit by Braxton Miller. It's just the execution, and that's what you have to be aware of, Braxton, that he can break it every time. So Michigan has to continue to rally to the football.
Miller's the 4th leading rusher in the Big Ten, 110 yards per game. He throws, first down. Nice move through the traffic by Corey Brown. And he's down to the Michigan 39-yard line, tackled by the middle linebacker Kenny Devins. A gain of 15.
This is Corey Brown trusting his receivers and getting that hole opened up with the receivers just to stay in the blocks long enough as we get a look here as Ohio State again going tempo. And Corey Brown did not hesitate, saw the hole and jetted upfield.
He had the big play last week in their win at Wisconsin, a 68-yard punt return for the game's first score. High snap handled by Miller. He lost the football and it's recovered by Carlos Hyde back at the 47. Jake Ryan popped it out, but Hyde was in the right place for the Buckeyes, but it's a loss of 8.
Good job of Jake Ryan right here, beating out the block and attacking Braxton Miller. And Carlos Hyde really wasn't in a good place to pitch the ball. It's almost, it would have been a forward pass. So Ryan comes in and finishes with the attack. He's a good football player out of Westlake, Ohio.
Leading tackler for the year, including a team high 13 tackles for a loss. Fake throw, design run for Miller, who slips down again just inside the 43-yard line. Jordan Kovacs playing his last regular season game for Michigan. Ohio native, but grew up near Toledo, a Michigan fan. His dad Lou played at Michigan in the early 80s. Most college football fan knows Jordan's story. Came as a walk-on and has become one of the all-time leading tacklers in the history of Michigan football. 325 entering today.
And we asked Greg Madison to describe Jordan Kovacs. He is Michigan. He's really had an outstanding career and very, very good football player for the Wolverine defense. Sound and consistent.
3rd down, 14, 3.5 minutes to go. First quarter tied at 7. Miller has a man caught. First down. Corey Brown, another big grab at the 24-yard line. So Braxton Miller off a tough week throwing last week, having his way against the best pass defense in the country here in the first quarter.
We like to say read the corner, throw the corner. Avery was up, so Braxton Miller throws deep. Avery has to get depth as we have a little motion.
Offense number 81. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
Number 5, Avery, the corner, has to understand the down and distance. Get your depth, take away the deep route, break on the short. He got a little nosy on a deep. Braxton was patient and hit the corner route to Corey Brown.
First and 15, back at the 29. Braxton Miller, you saw on the graphic, perfect, 6 for 6. Michigan has not given up 200 yards passing in a game this season. They've given up 109 already. The first quarter's not over. Flags down all over the field as Carlos Hyde got banged down at the 22. Thomas Gordon and Craig Rowe on the stop. 7-yard gain, but here's the flag for a holding call. And Urban Meyer's Buckeyes going in reverse.
Holding. Offense number 10. 10 yards from the previous spot. Repeat first down.
Meyer coaching as a head coach in his first Michigan-Ohio State game. An Ohio native, his dad grew up idolizing Woody Hayes.
And here you see the clear hold, and frankly, a mismatch. That's tough duty for Corey Brown to block the tough Jake Ryan. So sometimes you got to tackle him to get him down, and hopefully you don't get the flag. That one was pretty clear. Probably a pretty good form tackle, actually, Sean.
Tremendous start for Urban Meyer as head coach at Ohio State. Got the job just days after Ohio State lost in Ann Arbor to win the regular season last year. Miller with a lot of time throws to the 30-yard line to Evan Spencer. J.T. Floyd forced him out. Of course, it was only about 3 weeks after Urban Meyer got the Ohio State job that they learned they would be banned from postseason play this year as a result of infractions committed under the watch of Jim Tressel, who's expected to be here today, as Ohio State between quarters is going to honor the 2002 national championship team coached by Jim Tressel. Looked like moving along the right side of the offensive line.
Ball start. Offense number 79. 5-yard penalty, still second down.
The right guard, Marcus Hall. Same offensive lineman. All 5 of them have started every game. Tom Herman said at the beginning of the year they played with a chip on their shoulder because people around here didn't think they were very good. They still have that chip on their shoulder, but now they have a little bit of swagger too, a word I don't like, but yeah, he used it, so we'll repeat it because they've played so well.
And credit to Ed Warner, the offensive line coach, and Urban brought in, has done an outstanding job getting that confidence back into these guys.
Corey Brown got back to the 24, but 3 penalties on the Ohio State offense on this series have really hurt them. Ramon Taylor and Thomas Gordon made the tackle. And again, Ohio State trying to get up quickly on 3rd down to prevent Michigan from substituting.
One thing you don't want to do, and Braxton is susceptible to doing this, sometimes he takes an unnecessary sack. You want to make sure you keep this field position, throw the ball away to give yourself the opportunity for the shortest field goal possible if nobody's open.
And for a mobile quarterback, they do give up a lot of sacks. They've given up 27 this year. Good protection that time, but he couldn't find anybody, and now he's forced to throw it away. So you have a Michigan team with very few sacks while on defense, an Ohio State team that's given up a lot of sacks. And now the field goal unit is going to come out. Drew Basil's not been very busy. He attempted just 6 field goals this year. He's made 4 of them. His long this year is 35. This will be 41. His career long is 47. He has plenty of leg. And he's right on target. And Ohio State reclaims the lead with 37 seconds to go in the first quarter. 10-7 Buckeyes.
Both come in unbeaten, ranked number 1 and number 2. Breaking free, headed for the end zone. Got his man down the sideline. Touchdown, Ohio State. The Buckeyes will play for a national championship.
One of countless meaningful games in this rivalry, and Jim Tressel is in fact here. He was the head coach in 2006 when Ohio State won 42-39 to clinch their first outright Big Ten title since 1984. This has been the regular season finale for these two schools every year since 1935. 22 times this game has determined the Big Ten champion, including every year from 1972 to 1981. It decided which school went to the Rose Bowl. Drew Basil kicks off. Short kickoff down to Drew Dillio. He is swung down at the 30-yard line by Adam Griffin. Michigan leads the all-time series. Ohio State has won 8 of the last 10. 7-game losing streak for Michigan in the rivalry ended last year. 4 times they've defeated an undefeated and untied Ohio State team, and trying to do it again. Devin Gardner, the quarterback, play action pass on first down. As Roy Roundtree bounced off a hit from Bradley Roby and got tackled by Christian Bryant, but it's a first down with a 12-yard gain.
One thing Michigan is doing well is running their play action, and Ohio State is not getting any help from their linebackers underneath. Watch the Michigan offensive line. If they don't come off and they pop up with high hats right away, the linebackers should read that and be able to get underneath those routes. Roundtree is very strong after catch running that football.
Denard Robinson back at quarterback. Will they snap it before the end of the quarter? No. And the question is, he's taken a few snaps now as the quarterback. Can he throw the football?
I didn't see him throw it in warm-ups, but that doesn't mean he can't throw it.
That might have been setting him up.
Yes, they do.
Well, a remarkable scene here in Columbus during the break between quarters. We mentioned the 2002 national title team for Ohio State being honored on the field. Jim Tressel back at Ohio Stadium. He received a tremendous standing ovation from the sellout crowd as 2002 players hoisting him onto their shoulders. A lot of speculation here, Chris, and you live here in Columbus, about the kind of reception he would get, if it was even appropriate for him to be here, given that his actions almost entirely responsible for the bold man that this current team is facing. Here's Denard Robinson on the first play of the quarter. He got walloped by Bradley Roby. I think that question was answered. These fans gave Coach Tressel a tremendous response, but kind of a bizarre scene, because that man, what he did, his actions led to this current team having its season end. At the end of this game, they won't be able to play in the Big Ten championship game or in a bowl game.
You look at it, and I think Coach Tressel understands what happened, but also understands that Ohio State fans are a special group of people, and once a Buckeye, always a Buckeye.
Devin Gardner throws low. Intended for Joe Reynolds.
Yeah, the other thing quickly on that, Sean, one key player to that team was Maurice Clarett, who also left in a, I don't know if Maurice was here or not here, but
he was expected to be here.
Yeah, he was a big part of that football team back
and that's
in
what the players from the 2002 team all said during the week. When asked if Tressel and Clarett would be here, they said we would not have won that title without either one of them. So it's only appropriate that they would be here.
Yeah, they're absolutely right.
3rd down and 4. Gardner just did get it off, and a lot of running room for Jeremy Gallen. Late flag thrown in the middle of the field. Gallen out of bounds at the 16.
We'll see what this flag is, but give credit to the Michigan offensive line. Even though Gardner did take a shot,
coming back for offensive pass interference.
They did a good job of protection off the blitz that Ohio State brought. You bring that kind of blitz, you'll get a pick.
Pass interference. Offense number 21. 15 yards from the previous spot. Repeat, 3rd down.
It wipes out a 36-yard gain by Gallen.
See if we can see where Roundtree, number 21, right there on the far left. Watch him come across the field. Oh boy. No, I don't know if that's a pick. Now he's coming in and he's going to set it down, and you can make an argument if you're a Michigan fan or a Michigan coach that he's just setting his route down and the defender ran into them, and you'd have a legit argument. Huge call.
And now 3rd down and 19. The Wolverines back at their own 34. Devin Funchess, talented freshman tight end, went in motion. Gardner a lot of time to throw, sends one deep, and it's incomplete, intended for Drew Dillio. These two teams taking some deep shots here in the first 16.5 minutes.
Certainly, that's what Devin Gardner has added. He added dimension to this offense for Al Borges.
Nobody back deep for Ohio State to receive this punt. And they ran into the kicker. Will Hagerup. Then the punt is muffed. And it is loose. And Michigan has recovered at the 25-yard line. Well, that was bizarre all the way around, as Ohio State didn't have anybody back to receive the punt initially. And then it was muffed and recovered by Michigan, by Marvin Robinson.
Personal foul. Roughing a kicker. With 15 on defense. That penalty's declined. Ball recovered.
Devin Smith called for roughing the punter. Ohio State's been a great kick blocking team this year. They blocked 6 kicks, including 2 punts.
Corey Brown.
Yeah, he got back there late, tried to field the punt, muffed it. And then Marvin Robinson recovered.
Take shots and you get aggressive and you play to win. Urban going a little aggressive on the punt block, maybe seeing something they could exploit. Now let's see if Michigan take advantage of the turnover. Denard Robinson lined up in the backfield. Like to get him the ball on the outside.
Stephen Hopkins on the right of Gardner. He looked at D-Rob and threw it over the middle to the tight end, Mike Kwiatkowski, who took a big hit but stayed on his feet and spun down to the 19-yard line. Zach Boren, the senior middle linebacker, made the tackle. Son of a former Michigan standout linebacker, Mike Boren, who played for Bo Schembechler in the early 80s and was the leading tackler for the Wolverines in 1981 and 82. He's still 9th all-time in tackles at the University of Michigan.
Brother Justin had played on both teams in this rivalry for Michigan and Ohio State.
Offensive lineman, started his career at Michigan, transferred to Ohio State. Then Rich Rodriguez became the coach. Thomas Rawls stopped behind the line of scrimmage. It was Zach Boren again. He was a fullback until the 7th week of the season. They had injuries at linebacker. He made the move to defense, and he's been tremendous in that role.
Yeah, and right here just fills a hole, and Michigan's a little confused on their blocking schemes. We talked to Luke Fickell. He said the defense improved when Zach Boren took over at middle linebacker. It added stability, and the one thing about Zach at that position is he's going to be where he's supposed to be, and he's going to give you consistent performance week in and week out, which they frankly didn't have before he moved there.
Loss of 1, 3rd down and 5. 3 minutes played, 2nd quarter. An Ohio State blitz. Gardner throws and it's dropped. Would have been a 1st down for Drew Dillio. There's a flag down. Roughing the passer. And that'll move the chains. So some costly penalties by Ohio State. The roughing penalty.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer
against the kicker. Inconsequential after the muff punt, but this one really hurts the Buckeyes.
Number 43, Nathan Williams, will come in here late to the screen. Or actually Noah Spence, the true freshman who they're going to get. Banging Denard Robinson. The normally sure-handed Dillio dropped it on the man coverage, but right there Gardner showing his toughness and willingness, stick in the pocket, allowing the receivers to come open downfield and deliver the ball late.
Denard Robinson will take the direct snap. Design run. He turns the corner inside the 5. And they're going to mark him down just shy of the goal line, but very close to a 1st down inside the 1.
He doesn't run inside, he runs outside. Watch Vincent Smith, number 2. This is what the rivalry's all about. See that block? He takes Bradley Roby and buries him, puts him on his back, and Denard Robinson understands. Whoa, almost gets in there.
Yeah,
just
good
short.
Ball, though. Elbow was down. The ball wasn't to the pylon or the goal line.
but you see the contact and the physical and the effort. And Vincent Smith with a huge lead block to bring Bernard Robinson down close to the goal line.
Powerful Thomas Rawls is the tailback now. Stephen Hopkins, the fullback. Rawls off left guard, denied at the goal line. Might have had enough to get the first down, but he got rejected by Ryan Shazier.
Ryan Shazier, of course, made the big play up at Wisconsin last week. You have Shazier and Bourne coming in. Key to playing goal line defense. The defensive line keeps those linebackers free so they can run and make the tackle on the run, so they have the power to knock the back before his momentum could carry him into the end zone.
Hopkins and Rawls again in the eye. Gardner keeps it. Did he break the plane? Yes. Touchdown, Michigan. And the Wolverines lead for the first time today.
Good surge right there by the offensive line with a little assist from Hopkins. Push the ball over the plane.
Yeah, I guess every rivalry has iconic moments. This one really won't quite rival the Bush push, but a little help from Stephen Hopkins. Brendan Gibbons the extra point. So they go 25 yards in 5 plays after the muff punt. Gardner scored from 1 yard out. His 7th rushing touchdown of the season. Back in Columbus, Ohio, time for our Pacific Life game summary. Big plays, the story of this game. Big plays on offense, key mistakes. Ohio State averaging 7 yards per play, and Michigan more than 8. Muff punt by Ohio State turned into the go-ahead touchdown by Michigan. Wolverines lead for the first time today as Matt Weil, a sophomore from San Diego, kicks off. Line drive kick. Rod Smith let it go. Well, again this week, as was the case last week in Ann Arbor against Iowa, Michigan lining up Bernard Robinson all over the field.
When you start him out at quarterback, and again, they want to use him to run the football, not as an inside runner. They love his speed, so get him out on the edge. And you have to create ways to get him on the edge. Here's a quick pitch option, but you see the quickness of Bernard Robinson taking nothing and turn it into something. And again, getting on the edge with a good lead block by Vincent Smith getting positive yards.
He's run for 49 yards. They gave him the honor of taking the first snap as quarterback of this game, and he ran 30 yards. Miller in trouble, dancing to find a hole. Turned nothing into about 3. Desmond Morgan made the tackle. 5 snaps at quarterback, 6 at running back, 1 at wide receiver. Caught the first 2 passes of his career last week against Iowa, when he played most of the game at running back and ran for 98 yards. Braxton Miller handed it off to Corey Brown. Wow, great balance. And he's to the 49-yard line with a 21-yard gain and a first down.
It's a good read right here by Braxton Miller on the zone read, not keeping the football. Obviously, the Wolverine defense has done a good job of containing Braxton with the run. Corey Brown is somebody you want to get involved in the offense and create ways to get him the football, either through the air, handing it, pitching it, whatever half they do, they do. Kind of turned into there. Percy Harvin, Urban likes to refer to.
Former Florida star, now a multi-purpose threat with the Minnesota Vikings. Carlos Hyde across midfield, a 4-yard gain. Here's Robert Flores with an update.
All right, Sean, Taco Bell studio update. Rutgers can clinch the Big East in a BCS Bowl berth with a win over Pitt and a Louisville loss, but Tino Sinceri to Mike Shanahan has the Pitt Panthers on top 7-0 at home in the second quarter over Rutgers. Sean.
Rutgers on its way to this conference, the Big Ten, along with Maryland. Some of the big news of this week. The ever-changing college sports landscape. Carlos Hyde comes up 2 yards short of the first down. It'll be 3rd down and 2. And you see Michigan wasting no time substituting, Chris. They were a little frustrated when they can't substitute on 3rd down. And Greg Madison, one of the great defensive minds in football.
And that's a good job of Greg Madison understanding what Ohio State was doing, trying to tempo, having people ready to go right off from the snap.
They weren't lined up, though, scurrying along that defensive line, and a flag down. There was movement on both sides, and the Buckeyes are going to be called for a false start.
False start. Offense number 83. 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
Michael Thomas, the true freshman wide receiver.
That's a number of false starts that the Buckeyes have had. Constantly wasn't set for a full second up there to the top of your screen. Michael Thomas was lined up.
He's one of 15 true freshmen to play for Ohio State this season. It's 3rd most in the country. 21 seniors playing their final home game, their final game for Ohio State because of the postseason ban. 5 receivers spread the formation. 3 bunch to the right of Braxton Miller, who gets flattened from his blind side back at the 45-yard line by Frank Clark, another Ohioan, sophomore from Cleveland. And Miller is not getting up.
And a good play call by Greg Madison. You see Frank Clark coming here untouched. Now, a lot of times on blitz pickup, it's on the quarterback, understanding that a man will not be touched, and you have to throw the football right away because you're accountable for that guy. Paid the price, and I think Ohio State's offensive line slid the wrong way. They should have slid away from where Braxton was looking.
Then Buchanan punts. Fair catch made by Jeremy Gallen at the 12-yard line. 43-yard punt. Midway through the second quarter in the game, the Wolverines lead by 4.
ESPN's College Football on ABC, brought to you by the new 2013 Ford F-150 with EcoBoost. Go to Ford.com/ultimate combo for a chance to win the best combo out there. John Hancock, talk with your financial advisor. And Dr. Pepper, with 23 flavors. Dr. Pepper is always one of a kind.
One of the great traditions in college football, Script, Ohio. Begun back in 1936. Well, I almost sort of gave it away, didn't I?
Sort of.
And actually, it was the first time that Ohio State spelled it out was in 36. We want to know the first time the word Ohio was spelled out in Script at Ohio Stadium. Trivia question, of course, brought to you by Aflac. And I did not give the answer right because 1936 is not the answer.
Threw me off a little bit.
Devin Gardner throwing deep, a floater over the head of Jeremy Gallen. C.J. Barnett made the tackle.
Love the aggressiveness of Al Borges, Michigan offense. Taking shots down the field, trusting Devin Gardner and letting the guys go up and make plays.
Do you know the answer? I mean, you're a Buckeye, but do you know the history of the first time the word Ohio was spelled out?
I think I have this one.
I did not know this until last night at our production meeting. 2nd and 10. Gardner 5 out of 10 passing for 102. And an effective runner as well. He's to the 19-yard line. C.J. Barnett in on the stop. Junior safety from Dayton, Ohio.
Denard Robinson was set up there in a shovel pass, Sean, and because Devin Gardner did a good job of reading, getting positive yards, not pitching it to Denard. But Denard occupies so many people that it's capable or possible for Gardner, another running back, to bust one because of the occupation that he requires.
And you said at the top of the telecast, Luke Fickell, the defensive coordinator for Ohio State, said he was lying awake all week imagining all the ways that they might use this combination of Gardner and Robinson. On 3rd down and 4, Gardner. Pump fake. Got away from Nathan Williams and got the first down. If it's a right-footed spot, well, he's going to split the difference there and mark it with a first down, but there is a flag thrown beyond where the play ended.
I think he'll get 15 on Shazier coming in late.
After the play was over, unnecessary roughness, defense number 10, 15 yards from the end of the run, automatic first down.
The 6th penalty already on Ohio State.
And this is what Devin Gardner can bring to the table. Nathan Williams is going to have a shot. The little pump fake just slows him down enough. And right there you see the late hit by Ryan Shazier adding 15, and Ryan's got to pull up on that. A smarter football player than that. And Devin Gardner really had the extra dimension of throwing the ball deep and certainly capable with his feet. Puts a lot of pressure on this Buckeye defense.
Michigan leads by 4. 1st and 10. The Wolverines from their own 38. Look out! Zach Boren levels Gardner back inside the 30. Another tradition in this rivalry, some hard hits, and we've seen a bunch here in the first half.
Zach Boren comes in on a late delayed blitz. Again, set off the deep ball off the play action. This time it's covered downfield well. Then Zach Boren comes in with the finish. We talk about 1-step and wrap, 2-step and squeeze, and run through your target. We've seen that on both sides of the football for the Wolverine players and the Buckeye players. That's what this rivalry is about. Hard-hitting, clean football.
He's made a huge difference to this Ohio State defense, which has played much better of late. Gardner dumps it off. Roundtree upended at the 34-yard line by Travis Howard.
Nice job with Travis Howard coming off his man coverage, and it's a good play against man. Taking the legs from the tough Roy Roundtree.
3rd down and 14. Among the many things Gardner's done exceptionally well in his 3 starts prior to today, 3rd down passing, 77% on 3rd down. Robinson in at running back. Look out again. He's in trouble and dumped. Ryan Shazier atoning for the late hit with another sack. This Michigan offense, number 1 in fewest sacks allowed entering the day.
We're trying to set up the screen with Denard Robinson off to the right. Denard Robinson tried to chip Ryan Shazier. Denard can do a lot of good things. In fact, a lot of great things. Pass pro isn't one of them.
No, that was not a spirited effort to chip the blitzer. Will Hogger up, the leading punter in the Big Ten. 44.7. Line drive missile. Drives Corey Brown back to the 26. Crowd wanted a face mask penalty. No flag. And he's down at the 41-yard line. Dennis Norfleet made the tackle. Was it a face mask? The crowd already gave you the answer. Not only was it, it should have been a 15-yarder. Plenty of Michigan fans at the Horseshoe. The Wolverines lead by 4. Most of the fans very upset. They saw the replay on the scoreboard by the missed face mask call. Should have been a 15-yard penalty. Urban very upset, and then seemed to catch himself. Gave an earful to the field judge, Terry Anderson. Carlos Hyde rips through the middle and gets upended by Jordan Kovacs at the 44 of Michigan. First down, Ohio State on a 15-yard run.
Pullers turn into lead blockers. Number 79, Marcus Hall, does a good job of kicking out number 15, James Ross.
Buckeyes up quickly again. Hyde inside the 41-yard line. Quinton Washington and Will Campbell, the middle of that defensive line, made the tackle for Michigan.
Carlos Hyde's a type of back that gets stronger the more carries and more involved he gets into the ball game.
And they pound away with Hyde. Another first down to the 30-yard line. Kovacs and Campbell to tackle. 11 more for Hyde.
We're starting to get some movement up front. The Buckeye bigs are right now knocking back the Wolverine bigs, where Michigan's defensive line was pretty stout. Right now, the offensive line starting to take over for the Buckeyes.
55 yards rushing for Carlos Hyde on 10 carries. Averages 91 yards per game rushing, but 102 per game in Big Ten play. Miller throws. There is a flag now. It looked like Michigan might have been offside. Corey Brown, the gain of 5. Clock stop with 2:33 to go. All 3 timeouts left for both teams. Looked like Will Campbell was in the neutral zone.
Sean, just to note, they brought Jordan Kovacs.
Defense, number 73. 5-yard penalty, still first down.
As you see Campbell jump, they brought Jordan Kovacs, number 11, up into the box because of the success that Ohio State was having running inside. Jordan comes up there to bring the on-block player. When you do that, again, as we saw in the beginning of the game, the middle of the field becomes an area that you can take advantage of.
First down and 5. Miller tried to dance away from Jake Ryan, did momentarily, but then Ryan had help from Kenny Demmons, the veteran senior linebacker, playing in his 50th career game for Michigan, his 32nd consecutive start.
This is tough duty for Jake Ryan, but I'll tell you what, he does his job because he buys time for his pursuit of his buddies to come over and knock Braxton Miller out of bounds. But they're staying disciplined on the ends, and the ends aren't biting, and they're kind of putting Braxton in no man's land. Good discipline by Jake Ryan.
No gain, 2nd and 5. Hyde straight ahead. That play continues to work on this drive. He's to the 13-yard line of Michigan. Jake Ryan the tackle. 1st and 10. 12-yard gain.
And you keep running it until they stop it. Marcus Hall pulling around, leading Hyde up right through the A gap.
Marked it back on the 14. Miller as a receiver open. Corey Brown, touchdown. And Ohio State goes back in front.
Good job of running a little bit of a pick route without actually picking, confusing the Michigan coverage a little bit. And you have Corey Brown working on safeties and linebackers, and that's a matchup that Ohio State will take all day long.
It was a touchdown. That ruling is under further review.
Now his knee did touch, and the question is, where was the ball when the knee touched? It's pretty close. Look at the replay. See that left knee.
Yeah, it looks like he's
short.
A little short.
Looks like about the half-yard line. There's a knee.
Down from that angle. I would say there's not enough video evidence to overturn it. This one is from a camera that's obviously not quite on the goal line, but the knee down, the ball looks to be short there. The question is it conclusive?
I'm seeing that. That's tough to say. If it's not over the goal line, the front part of the goal line, it's awful close.
Jim Kemmerling is the replay official. Corey Brown, the receiver, known as Philly Brown, to Buckeye Nation. They have 2 Corey Browns. Corey Brown, who just scored a touchdown if it stands, is from the Philadelphia area.
After further review, the ruling on the field of touchdown stands.
Yeah, I think it's just not enough evidence to overturn it. The one angle it looked like he might be short was from off the angle. It has to be conclusive to overturn it. It was not, so the call on the field stands. Sixth place, 59 yards, the Buckeye drive. And a 14-yard touchdown pass, Miller to Brown. Tide had runs at 15, 11, and 11 on the drive. And Basil added the extra point. Back and forth, these great rivals go. Ohio State leads with a minute and a half to go till halftime.
Woke up on the right side of the bed.
Time to answer today's AFWAT trivia question. Want to win the first time the word Ohio was spelled out in script at Ohio Stadium. I mentioned it's an Ohio State tradition that dates back to 1936, but the first band to spell the word Ohio in script was the University of Michigan when performing here at Ohio Stadium in 1932.
Wow. Judging by the rousing reception that the Buckeye fans gave the Michigan game or Michigan band during the pregame, I'm not surprised. I think they were thanking them for script Ohio.
And getting ready for the halftime performance. 3-point lead for Ohio State as Drew Basil kicks off. Dennis Northleaf takes a knee. Wolverines will start from the 25 with all 3 timeouts left when we come back. Showdown Saturday continues on ESPN this afternoon and this evening. 3:30 Eastern time. Number 13 Oklahoma continuing its quest for the Big 12 title. They host their interstate rival 21st ranked Oklahoma State. And then at 7 number 12 South Carolina, number 11 Clemson. Showdown Saturday on ESPN. You can also watch live on Watch ESPN. You and I have done that Clemson South Carolina game. That's another rivalry that is spirited to say the least. Denard Robinson lines up to take the shotgun snap. And he keeps it following Stephen Hopkins, and a good gainer on first down, about 8. Christian Bryant made the tackle. And they'll have to move quickly with 1:15 of the clock running left in the half. Michigan with 3 timeouts.
If you have Denard Robinson in the ball game and he's your quarterback, you don't expect him throwing the football, so I don't know how aggressive they're going to be.
I'm surprised.
So am I.
With the depth as Gardner's been throwing the ball. All 3 timeouts. Had some men running open deep down the field throughout this half. Of course, Robinson can go the distance as well. He bounces off some hits, and they will not catch him. 67 yards and a touchdown.
That's why he's one of the most exciting football players in college football. Anytime he gets the ball in his hands with great blocking and great play design by Al Borges, he can hurt you and go the distance. Then you add that with poor tackling and nobody wrapping up for the Ohio State defense. Big plays are bound to happen.
Extra point good by Brendan Gibbons. Well, you don't have to throw it deep down the field when you have a guy who makes a habit out of running long distances with the ball tucked under his arm. 6 carries, 124 yards rushing in the half for Denard Robinson, 21 yards per rush.
Well, first of all, it's the play design when you have 3 lead blockers for Denard Robinson. Then you have 2 tacklers coming in. Number 2, watch Christian Bryant come in, and also number 7, Travis Howard. The thing they do not do, nobody wraps up. So when you don't wrap up and you have the strength of Denard Robinson, he will run through that and make you pay. That is why he's one of the all-time greats as far as rushing quarterbacks ever to play the game of college football.
Second all-time among rushing quarterbacks, behind only Pat White. We asked the Michigan folks today, now how is the NCAA going to view the yardage here when he's lined up some downs as a running back, some as a quarterback? They weren't exactly sure the answer to that. They lined up as the quarterback on that snap. They went 67 yards. Matt Wild bounced the kickoff down the field. Bradley Roby. A good field position for Ohio State. As Roby reached the 35, Thomas Gordon made the tackle. They have all 3 timeouts to the Buckeyes, but only 32 seconds with which to work. Coming up, the Capital One halftime report. John Saunders and Jesse Palmer. Scores and highlights from around college football on the Showdown Saturday. Later today here on ABC, Florida State and Florida. And then tonight, Notre Dame, #1 in the country, and USC.
Wouldn't be surprised if Ohio State gets aggressive with this field position.
Well, their quarterback can take it the distance as well. Miller out of bounds across midfield at the 48-yard line of Michigan. Well, these are 2 of the 7 quarterbacks in the country, Robinson and Miller, who lead their teams in both passing and rushing.
So interesting, that was the same exact play that Denard Robinson scored on. A crack with 3 lead blockers leading Braxton Miller with a crackback or inside block by a wide receiver.
Colton Browning of Louisiana Monroe, Jordan Lynch of Northern Illinois, of course Johnny Manziel of A&M, Taylor McHarg of Rice, Trent Steelman of Army, the other players who lead their team in both passing and rushing. Corey Brown, at the very least, they might be able to get into field goal range for Drew Basil. Very windy here yesterday and last night. The wind has subsided significantly. We watched some games yesterday, in this part of the country. Those games at Iowa really impacted by the wind yesterday. Nebraska's win over Iowa. West Virginia won at Iowa State. 2nd and 5. Career long is 47 for Basil. Miller dumps it off. And out of bounds goes Carlos Hyde. That's the 35-yard line. It would be 52 on a field goal try from here.
3 timeouts left. Still, the middle of the field is in play. The one thing you don't want to do if you're Braxton Miller is hold the ball for a long time, Sean, which he is susceptible to doing, and not take an unnecessary sack to give Basil a shot.
Michigan #1 in the country in pass defense, giving up 151 yards per game. Miller's thrown for 156 in the half. He's 11 out of 12. Steps up in the pocket, zings one toward the goal line and over the head of Devin Smith with Thomas Gordon in coverage. Now 5 seconds to go. They're going to try the long field goal to get within a point at halftime. And we've watched Basil in practice. His career long is 47, but he has the leg to do this if he catches it.
Yeah, and it looks like if you're looking at the orange flags up on the goalpost, it looks like he does have a little helper behind him.
And this is one of those places with the horseshoe shape that the wind swirls, and you look at one flag, it says one thing. You look at another flag, it might tell you it's going in the opposite direction. Urban Meyer's going to use a timeout now, perhaps to rethink this decision.
To me, I understand taking your shot into the end zone, but you almost want to play the percentages and look for a little bit of a check down to give your kicker a shorter kick.
Yep.
I thought that was
in the middle of the field. Use one of your timeouts, and
it's a poor decision by Braxton, I thought, at that point, to try to take your shot into the end zone.
Basil's still out there, so apparently they're going to leave the field goal unit out. It's 1 for 1 today with a 41-yarder that made it with plenty of room to spare. Urban Meyer in his first Ohio State Michigan game, trying to finish his first year with a perfect 12-0 season We asked him yesterday about being a man who grew up in this state. His dad worshipped Woody Hayes. His dad passed away last November. He said more than anything else, he feels a great responsibility to his players and to Buckeye Nation to have the team ready to go. Line drive that has enough. It wasn't pretty, but it got the job done. Career-long field goal for Basil. 52-yarder. And then we have a dandy at the half. Been entertaining throughout the first 30 minutes. Low snap hook. We can relate to that. Here's Quint.
Coach, what was the single key development in that first half?
Well, you know, we moved the ball, and you know, got tackled with that darn quarterback. He's a good player, but you got to get him on the ground. You get him on the ground, but you know, it's two good teams going against each other.
Coach, when you think about the penalties, I saw your reaction.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't seen it on film. I saw it on the field. If that's a late hit, then what game are we playing? I'm not quite sure. So,
thanks, Coach.
And that will be the last question. Well, Travis Howard and Christian Bryant had a chance to get Denard Robinson on the ground. That last touchdown run and did not. 21-20, Michigan over Ohio State at the half. Now John and Jesse, the Capital One halftime report. Welcome you back to ABC's College Football, presented by K Jewelers. Showdown Saturday underway at the half. Michigan leads Ohio State 21-20. Ohio State 100th in the country in passing offense, facing the #1 pass defense in America, the Buckeyes. 156 yards passing in the first half. 199, the high total passing against Michigan this year. That was Alabama in the opener. Down in Dallas, Sean McDonough along with Chris Spielman, rejoined in a moment by Quint Kesnick. That was a big surprise that Ohio State was able to throw the ball as effectively as it did.
Well, and they did it by setting up the throw with the inside run to Carlos Hyde, and they'll still take shots downfield depending on where those safeties are. If we see Jordan Kovacs come up to be a player in the run, Ohio State will take shots down the middle of the field.
And much of the Michigan offense coming on two big plays. Devin Gardner early in the game, 75-yard touchdown pass to Roy Roundtree, and then at the end of the half, Denard Robinson took it the distance, 67 yards. More than half of their offense in the first half came on two plays.
And they took advantage of the Ohio State turnover on the muffed punt by Corey Brown. Also kept that drive alive was a roughing the passer, and Michigan took advantage of the mistakes by the Buckeyes.
So Drew Basil will kick off to Drew Dillio and Dennis Norfleet. And he was fortunate, just did stay in bounds and kick through the end zone. So the ball come out to the 25 as we look at our Pacific Life game summary. Denard Robinson lined up on the first play from scrimmage as the quarterback. He's played wide receiver, running back, and quarterback. And he was the star of the first half with 124 yards rushing. Hasn't thrown a pass yet. Braxton Miller having one of his best days through the air with the well-timed runs as well. Robinson will take the first snap of this half as well. Gave it to Vincent Smith, who turned the corner and got 6. Here's Quint Kesnick.
Sean, I spoke to Brady Hoke, Michigan head coach, as he's walking out of the locker room. Said he spent the majority of his time at halftime focused on the pass defense, especially in the back end. I asked him if the Ohio State lack of subbing on offense was an issue. He said no. One thing you see, he's in the short sleeve shirt, in the polo shirt. It's low 30s. You'd never get an idea how cold it is looking at him, but the players are all huddled around these heaters.
Yeah, the players and the sideline reporter all huddled around the heaters. Devin Gardner back at quarterback. Throws to Gallen, first down. And the problem this year, Chris, for the Ohio State defense is the poor tackling. And they give up more yardage after the catch and after contact than any defense in the Big Ten. They're among the worst in the country at it.
Well, and they did improve in that area until today, and it'll cost you. It cost you with Roundtree, who broke a tackle on his first touchdown. Then Travis Howard and Christian Bryant had a chance to get Robinson, and he goes for 6 points because of poor technique of not wrapping up.
You saw 113 yards allowed per game on average after a catch, fourth most in the country. Hard to believe they're an undefeated team with those numbers. Thomas Rawls got chopped down in the open field by Bradley Roby. When we talked to the Ohio State defensive coaches yesterday, asked who's had a great year for you, the first name out of their mouths, Bradley Roby, sophomore cornerback, one of the 15 semifinals for the Thorpe Award, is the best defensive back in the country.
He's outstanding in man-to-man coverage and a great athlete, as you mentioned, Sean, that Urban Meyer put him back on the kickoff return to provide some type of explosiveness off that unit.
Bernard Robinson back in. He once verbally committed to go to Florida to play for Urban Meyer. Changed his mind and went to Michigan. He is the all-time leader in total offense for the Wolverines. Think of all the great players they've had. He's #1 in total offense with well over 10,000 yards. He has them within 2 yards of a first down. It'll be third down and 2. Ball at the 48. They need the 50.
He ran through Ryan Shazier to get it to 3rd and 2 as opposed to 3rd and 6. Again, another missed tackle by that Buckeye defense. Hidden yards.
A little closer to 2.5 perhaps, and Rawls gets nowhere near it. Back to the line, perhaps the length of the ball beyond it, and that's it. Zach Morin leading the defensive surge along with Bradley Roby, and Michigan is going to punt.
And the big man in the middle, who's been relatively quiet, Jonathan Hankins, did a good job of creating a pile to allow the linebackers and safeties to come clean up.
There's Will Hoggerup, junior from Milwaukee, and a timeout called by Michigan. You wonder if Brady Hoke is rethinking his decision to punt. On 4th and a long 2, 3 minutes into the second half.
College football in high definition is presented by Vizio.
Sean McDonough, Chris Spielman, Quint Kasanek, and Brady Hoke after the timeout sends the offense back onto the field. Michigan going for it on 4th down and nearly 3. Leading by 1. 3 minutes into the second half. Bernard Robinson takes the snap. Straight ahead, nowhere. Driven back by Ryan Shazier. Boy, you could understand them going for it, Chris, but running Robinson up the middle did not catch Ohio State by surprise.
Well, he's been most effective running outside. You're going to get a pulling guard, and let's see what happens. Watch Ryan Shazier, number 10, come in. The pulling guard is knocked off. Nobody gets him. You have Noah Spence, who comes low, coming underneath the block, and Ryan Shazier to finish off the top. Penetration kills any pullers from the backside. Well executed by Ohio State. I don't understand it. They haven't stopped Bernard Robinson when he ran outside all game.
I don't mind the gamble from the Michigan point of view, but the play call was a bit bizarre. Didn't fool them. And out high, busting through tackles, and down to the 29-yard line. Thomas Gordon and Kenny Demmons made the tackle. 1st and 10, Ohio State.
Something we didn't see in the first half. Carlos Hyde running outside where he was effective inside. They like tempo after big plays.
17-yard gain. Hyde's up to 83 yards rushing. Miller across the line of scrimmage. And wrapped up by Jake Ryan at the 23. It'll be 2nd down and 4. Ryan, the leading tackler in the game on either team. 6 tackles now.
the Michigan safeties are back there a little bit on the snap of the ball. On this type of down and distance, somebody usually comes up and gets involved in the run, as you see Jordan Kovacs, number 11, sneaking.
And then retreating. Hyde dragging tacklers. He's near another first down. Just shy of the 19-yard line. The indication is a first down. Will Campbell and Kenny Devins combined to bring down the powerful 232-pounder.
A lot of times Braxton Miller will read that because Thomas Gordon, number 30, they'll show one side in a different rotation. Gordon came up from his safety position when Jordan Kovacs retreated, and that's the chess match that's going on between Braxton Miller and those safeties for the Wolverines.
Miller designed run to the left, nowhere to go, and dropped for a loss of a yard back to the 20. Will Campbell, Desmond Morgan, Jake Ryan, ball near the play.
Outstanding job by Craig Rowe setting that edge, Sean, not allowing Braxton Miller, as you can see, 45 yards. Outstanding effort by the Wolverine defense, but setting an edge, forcing Braxton Miller to either run the hump, which means east and west, or cut it back inside. He's a good football player, number 88, Craig Rowe.
Senior out of Scottsdale, Arizona, number 88, Rowe, his 50th career start for Michigan. Hyde driving his legs, but they drive him back. Stood him up near the 15-yard line. Kovacs, Demons. Mentioned Kovacs grew up a Michigan fan because his dad played in Michigan. He's from Toledo, Ohio, near the Michigan border. He came to a game here, Michigan, Ohio State, in 2000 as a 10-year-old. Said it was rough, some of the things he heard. Learned some new words as a 10-year-old, but he thought that day, I want to come back and play for Michigan in this stadium against Ohio State.
He's made himself into a fine football player for the Wolverines. Outstanding, always around the football, instinctive.
We're all standing up along the Michigan defensive line. They'll do that from time to time. Miller yanked down. Good play by Desmond Morgan. It didn't look like he had much of Braxton Miller. Had enough of him to get him down short of the first down. Here's a big third down. They need to get to the 9. Excuse me, fourth down.
I like the call right here by Coach Meyer to get points. Points are tough to come by. So give you the lead.
There's Drew Basil, who got them within 1 on the final play of the first half with a 52-yard field goal. He's 2 for 2 today. 41-52. This 28-yarder is dead center. And Ohio State leads again. 23-21 Buckeyes with 8:12 left in the third quarter.
ESPN's College Football on ABC, brought to you by Hyundai. Go online and show your loyalty to your school at HyundaiShowYourLoyalty.com. UPS. Let UPS put the power of logistics to work for you. And Fidelity Investments. Innovative ideas for serious investors.
Back and forth, these ancient rivals go. Our fourth lead change has Ohio State leading 23-21. Beginning Monday, the 2-night dancing final begins. Sean Johnson, Melissa Rycroft, and Kelly Monaco. They're the best of the best, but only one can win. Who will be the first All-Star champion? Find out live. Dancing with the Stars. The All-Stars 2-night final event starting Monday at 8/7 Central right here on ABC. Drew Basil, one of the stars of the day with 3 field goals, sends one tumbling down to Drew Dillio. Whoa. Late flags thrown for a penalty against Michigan. And tempers flare. There's Mike Jones, backup linebacker out there in special teams, who went flying through the air at a block well after it seemed Dilio was down.
13.5. After the play, dead ball, personal foul, number 27 on the return team. Half the distance, first down.
These are mental mistakes that'll drive a coach crazy because it involves field position. And see what happens as he comes flying over the top.
Look how long he's been down for. I mean, what are you doing?
Again, sometimes it's a young player getting involved, but you got to be smart and understand that even your effort can be determined as a selfish football play. And again, it's all about field position in these types of games, Sean. It always is, always has been, always will be.
Big penalty against the junior from Orlando, Florida, from their 14. Devin Gardner throws down the middle, caught, and Gallen was almost off to the races. Tripped up at the 44-yard line by Bradley Roby, who saved a touchdown.
He doesn't change. What I mean, Al Borges is taking his shots down the field, and anytime you can get some type of play action going, you're going to get linebackers jumping up and safeties jumping up, which exploits the middle of the field. And those linebackers shouldn't be jumping up if you're Ohio State, because there are high hats. There's nobody coming off the football to draw you inside. You need to get back and recognize and get your depth to help out your safeties and corners.
Showdown Saturday coming up next on ABC. Florida State. Robinson separated from the football. Christian Bryant knocked it out. Ohio State has recovered at the Michigan 37. Nathan Williams recovered the fumble for the Buckeyes.
You make a mistake in the first half, can you make amends in the second half? And right there, Christian Bryant comes up, puts his helmet right on the football. Huge turnover by Denard Robinson, and he is holding it in his left hand, which the ball's been pretty secure. Was not holding it in that injured arm with the nerve damage.
Second Michigan turnover. Ohio State has turned it over once on the muff punt. Carlos Hyde trying to get through the middle of that defense. They're trying to rip the ball out as the Wolverines stopped him after a gain of 3. Kovacs up from his safety spot.
Now, if you're Michigan, you got to be careful now. This is where Ohio State, Sean, in this type of 2nd and 6, 2nd and 7, likes the middle of the field. And Greg Madison does a good job of coaching these guys because they show like they're going to bounce up. Then, according to the cadence or the clap by Braxton Miller, they'll retreat and get their depth. So this is a nice little job going on.
He's done a remarkable coaching job. College football fans know how horrible the Michigan defense was 2 years ago before this staff got there. Miller wanted to take that shot down the middle Chris talked about. Instead, he dumped it to Jake Stoneburner, who has the first down with his first catch of the day to the Michigan 25-yard line.
A nice job by Braxton Miller. There's Jordan Kovacs up there, but Corey Brown does not go to the middle of the field. He goes straight ahead, which allows Braxton Miller to keep the ball open to Jake Stoneburner.
Here's Miller running left. Quality gain of about 6 on first down. You think of how far this Michigan defense has come, Chris. 2 years ago, they were 112th in the country in pass defense, 110th in total defense, 108th in scoring defense. Miller, first down, out of bounds, inside the 13. Greg Madison, a Michigan man, was there for 5 years in the early 90s. Left, spent a lot of time with Urban Meyer, was a fellow assistant at Notre Dame, then coached for Urban on a defense that won a national championship, co-coordinated with Charlie Strong. They remain very close friends. Miller driving that defense crazy. Near another first down at the 3-yard line. Matter of fact, a lot of people believe if Madison had not already been gainfully employed in Michigan, a school he loves, Urban Meyer would have tried to talk him into coming here to Columbus with him.
Yeah, and they believe in each other's system, and Ohio State has a little bit of tempo going right now against Greg Madison's defense by getting Braxton outside.
Braxton buried back at the 9-yard line. They came quickly and lit him up. Thomas Gordon on a safety blitz.
Yeah, exactly, which Craig Madison loves to do. He's not going to get passive, even though they're going fast. He's going to go fast, and this is a great job by Gordon coming outside in. And again, the lack of recognition by Braxton Miller on blitzes. He does not know when to get rid of the football when he takes his shots.
Marked it on the 10. You see how well coached they are too. Jake Ryan there playing the running back first, and then when he realized Hyde didn't have the ball, he came off and helped destroy Braxton Miller, who did well to hang on to the football. Timeout, Buckeyes.
I'm Robert Flores with this SportsCenter Right Now update brought to you by HP. Battle for the Oaken Bucket between Purdue and Indiana. Boilermakers up 28-21. O.J. Ross keeping his feet like a boss for the Boilermakers. Meantime, Land of Lincoln Trophy, Northwestern and Illinois. Wildcats rolling 41-14. Kane Coulter to Tyrus Jones. Sean.
Purdue with a win would be bowl eligible for the second year in a row. They've made a late season run here to make bowl eligibility possible. 3rd down and 7 from the 10 at the Ohio State timeout. Problems with the snap, and Miller has to get on it. Way back at the 22-yard line.
So that goes from a 17-yard field goal to about a 39 or 40-yard field goal. Ball is high, but yeah, he has to get up in the air for that too. That's way high. Good decision.
Lindsley, usually very dependable setter. There's Basil, 3 for 3 today from 39 yards on the right hash mark. Very little breeze in the stadium right now, and he hooked it. No good. Wide left. So the Michigan defense holds after the fumble by Denard Robinson.
All set up by the blitz. First of all, to put him in 3rd and 7. High snap puts you in this position. It goes from, like we said before the kick, it goes from a 27-yard field goal to a 39-yard field goal. That could have been the difference in the hook. Every yard counts.
Yeah, they had successive losses of 6 yards and then 12 yards. 6 yards on the sack, 12 yards on the high snap. And Michigan takes over from the 22 with Denard Robinson taking the snap. He's run for 121 yards today. Gave it off there to Thomas Rawls, who bangs forward for a yard. Zach Bourne and Etienne Sabino made the stop for Ohio State. Sabino limping off. He just returned to action last week after missing 4 games. Senior playing in his last game as a Buckeye. Devin Gardner, the quarterback now. 8 out of 13 passing for 147 and a touchdown. Throws a short one to Drew Dillio. Caught at the 30. 2 yards shy of the markers. Orion Johnson, the tackle for Ohio State.
Good job by Dillio finding the soft spot in the zone and sitting it down. Actually, Sean, I felt like he could have kept his feet and turned and got the 1st down. I think he went to his knees when he didn't have to go through his knees.
Gardner goes out. Robinson back in. Michigan 52% for the year on 3rd down. 3 out of 7 today, and stopped on a 4th down play earlier in this quarter. Option look. Robinson pitches to Vincent Smith, in trouble and dropped for a loss. Well played by Joshua Perry, the true freshman, who just came in for Sabino, and Jonathan Hankins also helped run him down.
Also C.J. Barnett coming in. No threat up front. You don't have to worry about the pass. So what happens? Your safeties get super aggressive, and you're able to get 11 in on up at the line of scrimmage to take away all the runs because there's no threat of the pass with Denard Robinson.
Will Hogger up low punt, but it's away from Corey Brown. Flag down. This one's going to come back. Brown so dangerous. He's returned 2 punts for scores this year. Last week at Wisconsin, earlier this season against Nebraska. 56-yard punt, 15-yard return. Orion Johnson appeared to be guilty of an illegal block.
During the return, illegal block in the back, number 19 return team. Half the distance from the spot of the foul. First down.
Here's a look at this week's BCS standings, brought to you by Allstate. Number 1 Notre Dame for the first time atop the BCS standings. Whereas Asman, a good place to be the last 2 weeks. Number 1 has gone down in consecutive weeks. Alabama and Kansas State. Alabama back up to number 2. K-State idle this week at number 6.
One of my Heisman Trophy candidates front runners is in this game, and it's Marquise Lee from USC, who I think is the most dynamic offensive player in the country.
BCS standings brought to you by Allstate. Of course, Ohio State is not eligible. Our expert Brad Edwards says they would be 3rd in the BCS standings. Trying to finish an undefeated season. Carlos Hyde. And of course, they are eligible to be ranked in the Associated Press poll. And there's a chance that Ohio State could be recognized as AP national champions if everything breaks their way. Obviously, they need to win today and then need some help. But it's possible, and Urban Meyer said it hasn't been a big focus with his team, but they have discussed it.
Well, I just don't see that happening. You would think 12-0 they would get serious consideration.
You would think. But again, I just wonder if some voters are going to have misgivings about voting for a team to win a national championship that's on probation. Carlos Hyde delivers a stiff arm and picks up the first down. He told Raymond Taylor, "You're not going to get me on the ground shy of the markers." Crowd thought there was a little extracurricular activity across the boundary.
And Carlos sometimes gets labeled as just the inside, but here's some speed right here, then the powerful stiff arm. See right there, it gets a little bit of the face mask, and you know they never call that against offensive players. I've been complaining about that for years. You actually could call a face mask on Carlos Hyde, but I don't think I've ever done a game where it's ever been called.
I don't remember seeing it. 14-yard gain. It gets Hyde over 100 yards. 111 on 17 carries and a touchdown. Final minute of the 3rd quarter. Just one field goal in this quarter by Drew Basil of Ohio State to put them back on top. Rod Smith, the ball carrier. Bill Campbell made the tackle for Michigan.
If Rod Smith's in the ball game, he's known to put the ball on the deck. So if you're Michigan, you're going after that football, and I just want to see Rod Smith carry the ball. Very protective of it. And sometimes when you're overprotective of the ball, you run on eggs a little bit. You don't want to break the eggs, but he is a powerful guy that's capable of busting the big one.
Smith remains the running back. Blocking for Braxton Miller. Good cut. First down. Breaks a tackle. And it's chopped down near the 30-yard line by Raymond Taylor and J.T. Floyd. Could have been a short gain, but Joe Bolden, the true freshman middle linebacker, missed the tackle.
Good block. As you see, Braxton Miller was pointing to his calf, so we're going to go ahead and assume that it's a cramp. You just want to be careful. But watch Rod Smith. Now he becomes the lead blocker. Watch the kick out block, and a good job of patience by Braxton Miller setting it up. An outstanding speed by Joe Bolden running down. Feeling the pressure and covering up. Actually, that wasn't Joe Bolden.
No, he was the guy who missed the tackle.
Yeah, thank you. Raymond Taylor, number 6 from the cornerback position, from the backside, hustling to make the play. And good awareness of Braxton Miller, knowing he wasn't going to outrun everybody, covering up and protecting the football.
With the 228 yards, that is the single season total offense record. We showed you the graphic at the beginning of the game. He needed 227 to break Bobby Hoying's record of 3,290 total yards of offense for Ohio State in 1995. Braxton is sitting up. Kenny Guyton ready to come back in. Urban Meyer's referred to him as the right-hander out of the bullpen. He's been a very effective relief pitcher and on a couple occasions closer, coming into ball games to help Ohio State remain undefeated, particularly against Purdue when Miller did not play in the latter stages of the fourth quarter, and Guyton led them to a win. And come from behind fashion. And the clock runs out after they got Miller on the sideline. We head to the fourth quarter. Another good one as Showdown Saturday begins with Ohio State and Michigan. Welcome back to ABC's College Football presented by K Jewelers. The start of Showdown Saturday, Michigan and Ohio State. Michigan hasn't won here in Columbus since 2000. They've lost the last 5. Ohio State trying to finish the season 12-0. Perfect for the first time since they won the national title 14-0. 2002. Carlos Hyde took a handoff from Kenny Guyton, who had to be in for at least one play after Miller went out with an injury, and it will be just the one play, a very conservative play. Brady Hoke in his second year as Michigan coach, trying to go to 2-0. Former assistant at Michigan. Urban Meyer was an assistant at Ohio State, and these coaches know, and fans of this rivalry know, Chris, it matters what you do in the other games, but largely when you coach at these two schools, you are judged by what happens in this game. Absolutely. Big reason why Jim Tressel got that huge ovation was his 9-1 record against Michigan.
Absolutely.
Play clock running out, and the sideline was where they weren't going to snap it. They actually did snap it with a second left, but Urban Meyer had already hollered for a timeout, leaving Ohio State with only one. And as they talk things over, we'll send you back for an update from Robert Flores.
All right, Sean, Dr. Pepper conference update. Staying in the Big Ten, Purdue extending their lead over Indiana. Out of the Wildcats, it's Rob Henry to Gary Bush, and the Boilermakers leading Indiana 35-28. Sean and Chris.
Yeah. Big Ten really needs Purdue to become bowl eligible, and Michigan State, if they can beat Minnesota. Michigan State, one of the most disappointing teams in the country. At 5-6, they were preseason number 13, open with a big win against Boise State. But they need to win today to become bowl eligible. And the reason the conference could really use Purdue to reach bowl eligibility is Ohio State and Penn State can't go to bowl games because of their NCAA sanctions. They're not going to be able to fill all their bowl slots as it is. 5 bowl eligible teams right now. They have 8 bowl tie-ins. Play clock running down again. They snapped it with 4. Miller on 2nd and 9. Threw it away in the general direction of Jake Stoneburner. 3rd down and 9. The Buckeyes are 3 out of 8 on 3rd down today.
Now, if you're confident in Braxton Miller throwing the football, which they weren't last week against Wisconsin, they are today. So what I'm looking for is go ahead and try to attack the middle of the field depending on the defense that you see. And if I'm Michigan, they've had trouble picking up the blitz. I bring the pressure to force Braxton Miller to make a quick throw in this type of situation.
5 wide receivers, 3 to his left. Signaled Nick Manette to come in motion, perhaps stay in and block, which he did. Miller nearly fell down, and then he gets sacked. The slip cost him valuable time, and he couldn't get away from Jake Ryan and Frank Clark. Yeah, might take him out of field goal range.
One thing you don't want to do is take a sack, and again, it's the great call by Greg Madison, and you have Ryan in the corner blitz coming from Courtney Avery. And the slip, as you said, Sean, cost him to not throw the football away. The smartest thing you can do is secure the football and take your medicine.
Well, they called it a fumble. Recovered by Michigan. A lot of confusion. The field goal team was coming out. I don't think the Buckeyes realized there was a fumble. And they ruled that Clark came up with that ball. Braxton Miller had one hand on it on the ground. This will certainly be reviewed. The ruling is a fumble recovered by Michigan, and they're going to try to snap it quickly, you would think. Apparently the replay booth thought that was the right call. Gardner throws 9 yards and a first down. Let's go back and see if this was in fact the fumble. Yes, the ball's coming out.
Absolutely.
Now you wonder if Miller thought, okay, I've got possession just with my left hand on the ball. And if he did, he was wrong. The officials didn't view it that way.
Huge mental mistake. We talked about don't take a sack, protect the football. Again, it's the aggressive defense of Greg Madison. Ohio State has trouble with the blitz all day as Denard takes the snap from quarterback.
2 turnovers apiece. Denard Robinson stood up short of the first down marker by Zach Bourne and Ryan Shazier.
He's not yet to throw the football. As you see Denard Robinson going out of the game because they have not had success when Denard Robinson carries the ball in 3rd and short. Ohio State stopped him in 3rd and short the last 2 times he carried the football to try to get the first down.
So Devin Gardner back in. 3rd and 1, Wolverines from their own 45, trailing by 2. They haven't scored here in the second half. Vincent Smith nowhere near the first down marker, lost a couple. Etienne Sabino, Ryan Shazier combined. And Brady Hoke's not going to go for this 4th down. The punt unit coming out.
Penetration inside again, clears the spot for the linebackers, bouncing it to the on-block players. Zach Bourne takes the fullback, throws him into the ball carrier, which stops his momentum, and you have the speedy, aggressive Shazier coming over the top to make the stop on the short yardage.
Good punt by Hogger up. Corey Brown laid the first couple miss. And gets taken down at the 25-yard line. Jareth Galanda, the snapper, made the tackle. Sabino and the Buckeye defense fired up after that 3rd down stop. It's a great day of college football on ABC. Showdown Saturday. It's just getting started at 3:30. Florida and Florida State. And then tonight, #1 Notre Dame trying to cement its spot in the national championship game at USC to take on the Trojans at 8 o'clock. 105,899 the attendance, the largest crowd ever to see an Ohio State Michigan game here in Columbus. Braxton Miller on first down, zipped one to Corey Brown, who ran over the tackler. Raymond Taylor good for 13 to the 38 and a first down. Buckeyes leading by 2 here in the 4th quarter.
Good call by Tommy Herman, seeing the soft corners, understanding the 5-yard hitch. Easy throw, easy catch. Should get positive yards on first down for this Buckeye offense.
Teams went up and down the field in the first half. It's evolved into a defensive struggle here in the second half. Corey Brown has an 11-yard gain and another first down.
Again, they're playing zone defense, and you get people committed as Braxton rolls out. That flat area is an area that defense or a 3-deep look is going to give up. It's simple pitch and catch.
Tom Herman.
Far right with the glasses.
Offensive coordinator, first year here, came from Iowa State. I asked him about the pressure of being the play caller in a rivalry game. He said, well, anytime you're in a rivalry game, there's immense pressure. So it's Iowa, Iowa State, Rice or Houston, some of the rivalries he's coached in. Enormous pressure on the coaches. Hyde ahead for 1 yard to the 50-yard line.
I used to think about that too, Sean, and coaches and players, when the game starts, are so focused in on what they're doing and are so used to trusting their training. Leading up to the game, you feel that pressure, right? But once the game's going, you just focus in and do what you're supposed to do. At least that's my experience.
Herman's opposite number is Al Borges, the offensive coordinator in Michigan, and he's been around a lot of big rivalry games. Was in this game last year. Miller handled another high snap, and Hyde gets rattled by Kenny Demmons right at the line of scrimmage. Al Borges was at Auburn, the Auburn-Alabama rivalry. He was at Stanford for Stanford Cal. He's been at Oregon, Oregon State. He knows what it's like to be under the pressure, calling plays in a game like this.
He should be commended for the job he's doing with Devin Gardner in implementing Denard Robinson and making an offense for them as Carlos Hyde. I don't know.
Limping off the field.
Guy's getting cramps when it's 35 degrees outside.
They don't have depth at running back. It's really just Hyde and Rod Smith. Big 3rd down and 8 here. They really rush only 2. They want to guard against Miller running. He throws a wobbler that's incomplete. Off the hands of Devin Smith. Had he held it, it was a 1st down. But it was a wobbler. He couldn't catch it. And they'll have to punt.
You're right. They're dropping 9 into coverage and still are almost able to convert this 1st down. Would have been a tough catch, one that he's capable of making, but really a throw that Braxton Miller normally doesn't miss on, missed there.
Confusion on the Ohio State sideline. Urban Meyer handles the special teams himself. Ben Buchanan on to punt.
Yeah, if the play clock runs down, you do not want to call a timeout. Buy yourself another 5 yards.
They snap it with 1. Jeremy Gallen's going to let it bounce, and it takes a Buckeye bounce. And a couple of them. Back to the 8-yard line. So the senior punter out of Westerville, Ohio, Buchanan, in his final game with a job well done.
ESPN's College Football on ABC, brought to you by Mercedes-Benz. Experience truly great engineering today at your authorized dealer. Dr. Pepper, with 23 flavors, Dr. Pepper is always one of a kind. And K Jewelers, every kiss begins with K.
Michigan Wolverines need to find the offense again. They have not crossed midfield here in the 2nd half. Their deepest penetration, their own 48. They've had 4 possessions. Lost it on downs. Lost a fumble. The last 2 have been 3 and outs. Start from their own 8. Devin Gardner after a play fake. Low pass intended for Jeremy Gallen, who was tightly covered by Bradley Roby. And a flag now.
They want to take away the play action pass, which Michigan has come out and basically started every series this 2nd half with. So they line up and play man-to-man, and Bradley Roby was very aggressive on the pass coverage out there in the flat. Interesting note as they're discussing this, Sean, out of the 117 rushing yards for Michigan, Denard Robinson has 122, -5 for everybody else.
Yep. Sack yardage comes off the yardage total.
Defense number 1. Ball in place at the spot of the foul. 1st down.
They can't do that. Downfield, balls in the air.
There's Taylor Lewan, and they're getting a little chippy right there. But Bradley Roby cannot grab the jersey. Anytime the official sees cloth or separation, you got to throw the flag. That was a good call on the edge.
Ball to the 19. Vincent Smith. Whoa. Stood up, and they allow the officials, the Buckeyes, to drive them a long way back. C.J. Barnett, Ryan Shazier, Jonathan Hankins in on the stop.
There's a reason why this defense improved when Zach Bourne went to the middle linebacker. He understands gaps to fill. He understands where to bounce the football. Right there, he takes the fullback inside, trusting Shazier, who's on block, come over the top to make the tackle. He's the one that solidified this Buckeye defense from where it was in the beginning of the year to where it is now.
And the numbers don't lie. Last 4 games, they've given up only 14 points per game. Gardner got away from a hit from Nathan Williams, then got banged down and lost the ball. Ohio State has it at the 10-yard line. Travis Howard has the football.
First down.
Gardner's second lost fumble of the game. Jonathan Hankins had him around the legs, it seemed, and had some help to knock it free.
And Nathan Williams coming in.
Yeah, maybe it was Hankins who lowered the shoulder in after Michael Bennett was down low.
Good job by Gardner escaping the first hit.
Full media timeout.
Go for the protection. Big Jonathan Hankins has been relatively quiet. Looks like the shoulder or the helmet will come in and get the elbow. Right.
A great hit on the ball by the big junior from Dearborn Heights, Michigan.
That's a scramble to the football. Mueller will do a good job of pushing people away, knowing he can't recover it.
Only 2 Michigan natives on this Ohio State team. Hankins is one of them. The starting right tackle, Reed Fragel, is the other.
Sean, Travis Howard had the first shot at the ball. He missed it. He did not quit on the play. He got back up, came around, and got the recovery.
Gardner down would be the question that you'd have. Doesn't look to be.
Not from that angle.
Nope. It looked like the ball was coming out. Yeah, the ball was definitely coming out. Well, first and goal from the 10. Hyde drags Thomas Gordon down to the 5-yard line. Second and goal. A touchdown would be huge, make it a 2-score game. Michigan defense really needs to rise up and force a field goal try. Hyde again. A yard before he got sent backwards. It actually looks like they're going to mark it right back on the 5-yard line. Huge play in the football game coming up here. 3rd and goal. Midway through the 4th quarter. Ohio State leading by 2.
If you're Urban Meyer, you're anticipating, because they've had such success doing it, Greg Madison running a blitz. Remember, last time they ran a blitz, they got a sack and they caused a fumble. So you have to tell Braxton Miller to be aware, if you're going to throw the football, that blitz is coming.
Ohio State did not get up quickly for that 3rd down, so Michigan had a chance to substitute. Miller out of the gun, design run, and he's tripped up. Great play by Frank Clark, who's had a number of big plays for the Michigan defense today.
Also, Jabril Black, number 55. You're going to see him throw the spin move on Mueller right there, forcing Braxton Miller to go back into Clark, who does a great job of getting an open field tackle. You see Jabril Black throw that little spin move out of there. Very nice. Playing his responsibility. Huge stop for the Wolverine defense.
Absolutely had to have it, you would think, with the way their offense is playing here in the 2nd half. Now Basil to give them a 5-point lead. It's 3 out of 4 today. Missed his last try. Hooks that one through from 25 yards out. And the Michigan defense here in the 2nd half has risen up after a couple of fumbles. One by Robinson, one by Gardner. They're within 5 points.
I'm Robert Flores with his AT&T All-American Player of the Week nominee. It is Northwestern's Kane Coulter. He is torching Illinois. 3 touchdowns through the air, another on the ground, as Northwestern leads the Illini 50-14. You can text vote to 34763. And Sean, that would give Pat Fitzgerald his 49th career win at Northwestern, tying a school record.
Well, he's done a tremendous job, and that's another team, Chris, that has to think about what might have been. They'll go to 9-3. They could have been a big factor in this Legends division. They're going to finish 3rd behind Nebraska and Michigan. But they held on to a couple of leads, particularly against Michigan. They gave up the Hail Mary pass at the end of regulation that led to a game-tying field goal, and Michigan beat them in overtime. It might be a much different story here in the Legends division.
That's a great catch by Roy Roundtree. Michigan alive. What an effort by the Michigan defense, holding Ohio State to 2 field goals.
Yeah, they've had to play against poor field position the entire half because of the poor performance of the Michigan offense since halftime. Dennis Norfleet, the true freshman, good return out to the 31-yard line. Let's take a look at today's good hands play, and it's the play of the Ohio State defense here in the second half, brought to you by Allstate.
Especially against short yardage situations. They're 3 for 3 in short yardage, coming up with big plays on 3rd and short. They've stopped them every single time. Of course, you have the last fumble caused by Jonathan Hankins, where Michigan's defense came up with a big stop.
Michigan's offense has not crossed midfield in this half, while Ohio State has run 21 plays in Michigan territory here in the second half. Speaks to what you were saying about the great job done by the Michigan defense. Both defenses outstanding since halftime. Devin Gardner wants to go deep. Takes the check down and almost threw an interception. The pass was behind Roy Roundtree and broken up by the junior safety from Cleveland, Christian Bryant.
Well, he's late on the throw because he's looking post first, going deep to short. You're going to see number 2, Christian Bryant. Sorry, right there on your screen. He's reading his mail. Right there, he had a great break on the football, and frankly, he drops the ball. That could have been ball game right there. Devin Gardner, big sigh of relief from number 12.
Michigan's turned it over 3 times, Ohio State twice. Gardner deep down the field again and broken up once again by Christian Bryant. Jeremy Gallen, the intended receiver.
Sean, anytime you can have a safety come over and make a play on this ball, the one thing that tells me that ball's a little bit late. You see how Gallen had to settle down to catch the ball, which allowed Bryant time to break on the football.
Where's Denard Robinson here?
They feel like they want to throw the football. I mean, that's the only thing you can surmise. Is they want to throw the ball.
For 122 yards today. Trying to jam it down the field on this possession with more than 6 minutes to go. Gardner, 3 straight passes. That one's caught. They give Gallen the forward progress. It's going to be a first down. It looks like that's where they're going to mark it. C.J. Barnett, the tackle. First down and a big one for Michigan on a 10-yard game.
And this time Devin was right on time because this ball is thrown before Gallen comes out of his break. And an excellent route by Gallen by running it to the sticks.
We talked a lot about how good Michigan's been on 3rd down this year. Well, Ohio State's defense this year on 3rd down and 7 or longer has allowed the opponents to convert only 12% of the time. That's the best in the country. So teams don't do what Michigan just did very often against this Buckeye defense. Frustration you saw from Devin Gardner. They have to use a timeout. Michigan has just one left for each team. Back in Columbus, time for our Pacific Life game summary. With 5:39 to go, Ohio State leads. They trailed by 1 at the half. They've kicked 2 field goals here in the second half. Denard Robinson, 122 yards rushing. But he has not been a factor here in the second half. Matter of fact, he is -2 yards of rushing since the half. 1st and 10 Michigan. Trying to cross midfield for the first time in the second half. Gardner flush from the pocket. Flag down behind him. He goes out of bounds with a 9-yard gain. But there's a flag back at the 34-yard line for a hold against Michigan.
Where do you miss John Simon? Well, John Simon often causes holding penalties. Now you go to your other senior, an outstanding football player by the name of
holding. Offense number 75. 10 yards from the previous spot. Still first down.
Nathan Williams, number 43, playing in his last ball game. He's going to get the short edge. And actually, Devin Gardner did an outstanding job of avoiding the sack, where Nathan had a right hand on the foot of Devin. He created a penalty. A lot of screens and draws. 1st and 20.
Well, they apparently believe they're just going to lean very heavily on the passing game here. So Denard Robinson remains a spectator for Michigan. Well, Kesenick tells us there isn't anything new wrong with him beyond the injury he came in here with. Gardner's in trouble. Went spinning away from the safety blitz of Orion Johnson. Throws on the run down the field, incomplete. Looking for Devin Funchess, the tight end, with Zach Moore in the middle linebacker running in coverage.
Well, I think Devin would like to have this play back, only because I do believe he could run the football. Here you see from the pressure, good awareness by Devin Gardner of spinning out for Orion Johnson. But look at all the green in front of him, Sean. He would have picked up a block, and he still might have gotten down close to that 1st down mark. But that comes with reps. Now remember, he's only been playing quarterback this year for 2.5 games. A missed opportunity for Devin in the Michigan offense right there.
He's a junior. He's going to remain at quarterback. We're passing on virtually every down here. Gardner throws, intercepted by C.J. Barnett at the 48-yard line. Looking for Drew Dillio.
He's been late on a couple of the throws to his left. Right there, Dillio's open for a second, but C.J. Barnett's doing a great job of reading the eyes. He floated a little bit. The ball was behind. Just not a well-timed play for the Wolverine defense. Barnett catching the ball at its highest point and securing the football after the pick.
Second interception of the season for Christian Bryant. 14th of the year for the Ohio State defense that leads the Big Ten. First thrown by Gardner. He's lost 2 fumbles.
Ball starts. Offense number 86. 5-yard penalty, still 1st down.
Jeff Hireman, the tight end. I'm just surprised with that much time left that you just completely take Denard Robinson out of the game. I mean, you don't have to throw on every down, and you, at least when he's on the field, there's the threat of those plays that they were so worried about Michigan running all week long.
Well, what it does do is if he's in the backfield, what you do is you call your defenses accordingly, because you can't just go in a straight pass rush when Denard Robinson's in the football game, because you have to account for him on the flat or quick toss or any type of offense. And I agree with you. I think it was a little early to go to 4 wides and let's air it out.
We break there for Ohio State. Another high snap. It clanged off the hands of Braxton Miller. It was caught out of the air by Hyde, and he actually turned it into a 3-yard gain to midfield.
That's 3 high snaps we've seen in the second half. One was almost costly. Well, it was costly because it put him on a 39-yard field goal, which Basil hooked.
Now Ohio State getting into the mode where they're just going to run the play clock down. On every snap, 1 timeout left for Michigan. Design run, Braxton Miller. Tripped up by Jake Ryan at the 45. Here's Robert Flores.
All right, John, here's what's happening on SportsCenter right now, brought to you by HP. Purdue has just about put away Indiana. They now lead 49-35 in the 4th. Robert Marv to Hakeem Shavers. When you think of touchdowns, think of Hakeem. Battle for the Oaken Bucket. And coming up on ABC, E.J. Manuel, number 10, Florida State, hosting number 4, Florida. That's coming up next right here on ABC. Sean.
And this is one of those days you just settle into your favorite chair, get on the couch, and get ready to stay there. Florida State, and then tonight Notre Dame and USC, and a huge first down for Carlos Hyde as he went right through the middle of the Michigan defense to the 32-yard line. And when they snap it next, there'll be less than 3 minutes to play.
Well, it's been their bread and butter all game whenever they needed tough yards. Let's pull Marcus Hall for the kick out, and Carlos Hyde's running downhill full steam, and he's 10 yards before Jordan Kovacs, the safety, can get him down. That's what when they need tough yards, that's the play. Marcus Hall, you pull, Carlos run right by him, follow him to the first down.
135 yards rushing for Hyde. Season highs 156 against Indiana. They're going to continue to ride him. Now Brady Hoke has to decide when he wants to use his last time out. Ohio State 2.5 minutes away from a perfect season. Undefeated and untied for the 6th time in school history if they can finish it off.
Think about that, Sean, under the circumstances that they've done, that new coaching changes, winning tough games. It's a credit to Urban Meyer and his staff, and it's a credit to the seniors on this Ohio State team that faced all that adversity.
Many of them, they all had the option to leave when the sanctions were handed down. The seniors could have transferred without having to sit out a year. Here's Hyde again. It looks like another first down, and it is inside the 22, and they can sense it now here in Columbus.
Well, you know, I never see him take the headsets off with 1:48 to go, and they just I mean, you want to make sure you get that snap. And if I'm Michigan, I try to jump that snap. I try to do anything, swat the center's hands. I even take a chance on going after a false start to jump the gun.
Ohio State. It's third and final timeout.
Run all the way
30-second
down.
timeout.
Tomorrow night on ESPN and ESPNU, Reese Davis, Kirk Herbstreit, Jesse Palmer, David Pollack unveil the latest BCS poll. Who will rise? Who will fall? Will Notre Dame still be on top of it with a win tonight against USC? It's the BCS Countdown presented by Allstate tomorrow night at 8:30 Eastern on ESPN. Continuing on ESPNU at 9 Eastern. And as this one gets closer and closer to the win column, barring a disaster for Ohio State, now it will be. The season will end at 12-0. They are not eligible to go to the Big Ten championship game or play in a bowl game because of the one-year penalties, the sanctions under the Jim Tressel regime. You live here, you're around this program a lot, you played here. What's the sense in Columbus now? Will there be great angst because it's a team that might have had a chance to play for a national championship and won't?
Well, I think it's certainly going to be talked about, and the students here petitioned the President of the United States.
That hasn't seemed
earlier,
to work so far.
No, but I think you certainly wonder what would have been. But the kids and the coaches controlled what they could only control, and that's to play all the games and win all the games. And I like the fact that they're going under center here to take the snaps.
And of course, hindsight is 20/20, but a lot of people around these parts have asked, why didn't Ohio State last year impose a self-imposed bowl ban as Miami's done now 2 years in a row? It was a 6-6 season. Playing in the bowl game wouldn't seem to be a huge deal, and perhaps take the chance that that would have sufficed for the NCAA with an eye toward this season.
I think the only reason why they did that is that they didn't know if they were going to get a ban this year, so they were trying to be proactive in it. And boy, and frankly, coming into the season, there were a few people, because of the way the schedule's set up, that thought Ohio State could go undefeated. Everything had to fall into place, and Braxton Miller had to make a giant improvement from his freshman year to his sophomore year, which he certainly did.
In the sense I get, Chris, here just being here for the last few days and talking to some people, is the people here in Ohio don't think this is a great Ohio State team. Urban Meyer's even said that himself. I mean, this is going to be their 6th win out of 12 by 7 points or less. You know, they've had a couple of games that easily could have gone the other way. But in the back of your mind, you always have to wonder if they were eligible to be in the BCS standings. Would they have made it into the top 2? We think they would have been number 3 this week.
They're very similar to the 2002 national championship team, Sean. And you remember that year with Craig Krenzel as a quarterback, Moose Claret. They had the Holy Buckeye against Purdue on a 4th down, which they didn't win a lot of games in fancy ways. They just won.
They were not dominant. And they're going to let the play clock go all the way down. Miller takes a knee. And Urban Meyer, in his first season as head coach at Ohio State, leads the Buckeyes to their 6th perfect season in school history in 123 years of football. 12-0. And he wins his first game as head coach in the game against Michigan. 26-21. The defense outstanding in the second half as the Wolverines did not cross midfield. And Michigan will fall to 8-4 as it gets ready to head to a ball game. Here's Quint Kesnick.
Coach Meyer, congratulations. You shut him out in the second half. How'd you do that?
Our defense, we had to tackle that quarterback. He's a great player. And we tackled, we really improved tackling.
Handshake with Coach Madison. Coach, all season long you said this is not a great team, but I love
It's a great team. This is a great football. We went 12-0. And this has been a very good team, so this is a great football. It'll go down as one of the great teams in Ohio State history.
What did the senior class show you? What did the senior class show you, Coach?
The senior class, we didn't know who they were. The leap of faith for them to come back. They could have left because of the sanctions. They came back and said they love this university.
No Big Ten title game, no Rose Bowl, no BCS game. This is the end. What emotions are you dealing with right now?
Just that for guys like John Simon and the senior class, that's all I can't get it out of my mind.
Congratulations, Coach.
Well, he was very emotional at Earl Bruce's annual tailgate party talking about the seniors. Had to stop in the middle of his remarks. Great affection for these seniors who did all that they could do. They won every game that they were allowed to play in their final season at Ohio State. The 12-0 team. Yesterday he said it's kind of a ham and egg outfit that just finds a way to win. They got upgraded from ham and egg to great very quickly, about 24-hour span. But when you win them all, you are great. Historically great. 26-21 the final. This great day continues. Showdown Saturday brings you number 4 Florida with national title hopes and number 10 Florida State. Now for Quint Kesnick, Chris Spielman, and our terrific crew, Sean McDonough saying so long from Columbus. Let's head back to the studio.
Sean, thanks a lot. John Saunders and Jesse Palmer up next. Game 2 of our triple header, Florida and Florida State. Jeff Driscoll is back at quarterback for Florida, and he's going to need to be sharp today against a Florida State defense that is among the best in the nation. First of all, congratulations to our former colleague, Urban Meyer, former head coach of Florida, who won a couple of national championships there. First undefeated team that's been on probation since Terry Bowden did it in 1993 with Auburn when he ran the table. That has got to be extremely difficult to do, to keep your team focused knowing they can't really play for anything.
You have to give Urban Meyer so much credit for keeping this team focused week in and week out. This has been an extremely resilient team all season long. And whether it's beating Purdue in overtime with your backup quarterback, or beating Michigan State by 1 point, or winning a shootout against Indiana when you give up 49 points. Each and every week, this team has found a way to get wins. Today, it wasn't very pretty in the first half. There were tons of miscues. Even in the second half, they had 2 great opportunities in the red zone that they squandered, had to accept field goals. But the defense came up with 3 turnovers in the second half, and they win again. Urban Meyer should be considered for National Coach of the Year. And I understand a lot of people are looking at Brian Kelly at Notre Dame right now, or Bill Snyder at Kansas State, Jim Mora Jr. at UCLA for what he's done in his first year. But this was a team that was 6-7 last year. He's taken them to 12-0. Can't win a BCS title. Be interesting to see what happens with an AP national championship. Urban Meyer has been unbelievable this season.
A lot of AP voters who don't necessarily like the BCS will probably vote for Ohio State. They deserve to get some votes right now. Let's join Quint Kesnick, who's standing by, back at Ohio State, where they've just knocked off the Wolverines of Michigan.
Let's go! Joined by Zach Warren. Zach, halftime, they got 21 up on the board. How were you able to shut them out in the second half?
Our coaches did a great job adapting to what they were giving us, and the defense we played as a whole. You know, we had some missed tackles in the beginning of the first half, but we really came out second half, got back to our fundamentals.
All season long, Coach Meyer said, we're not a great team. We have great competitive spirit. Today, he changed that up. He says, we're 12-0. We're great. How do you best describe this team?
We're a great team. We refuse to lose all year. We're so close. It's the closest team I've ever been a part of, and we just won't lose. I mean, I love these guys to death, and all of us would go through anything for anyone on the team.
Your dad was a Wolverine. I met him today. You grew up in this rivalry. What's it like to walk away now getting the victory?
There's not a better feeling in the world. You know, your whole year is made, you know, or lost on winning or losing this game, and there's no better feeling, especially being senior day, going out with this win.
Thanks, Zach.
All right, thank you.
Quinn, thanks a lot. And Jesse, it's difficult to go undefeated regardless of what conference you're in, but when you're talking about the Big Ten, you're talking about some of the powers over the years.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And, you know, I think I go back to this offseason, Urban Meyer bringing in his new spread offense. People weren't sure necessarily how a lot of players were going to adapt to this scheme. Seemed like it was going to be a great fit for Braxton Miller. That obviously proved true. There were so many other question marks at the start. Jordan Hall was expected to have a big role at the running back position. Obviously, he's been banged up a lot this season, so Carlos Hyde has to fill in and make plays. And in big games this year, he does that. Weren't sure what was going to happen in the passing game. Devin Smith, Philly Brown, a lot of question marks outside at wide receiver. But at the end of the day, you heard Urban Meyer at the end of that game talking to Quint Kessenich about how guys stepped up. Didn't have great players at the start of the year, but this offense became a unit that was cohesive at the end of the season. You can't say enough. It's impressive. And I understand with sanctions, we're not going to get a chance to see this team in a conference title game or a bowl game. But at the end of the day, good teams find ways to win. Haven't always been exceptional, haven't always been overly impressive. But it's impressive the fact they just go 12-0 in that conference. I give them credit.
And to say that they don't have anything to play for, well, take a look at the field after the game.
Yeah,
So those fans on the field, guess what? They had something to play